speaker is David Lee Clark. He is been a presence in and around Grapevine. Many of you know him since the early 60s. I'm told, I was not here, but I'm told he had a Radio Shack store where he was the manager, where many of you got to know him. More relevant to tonight, he was one of the founders of the Runway Theater. He's the main administrator behind the Facebook group of all Grapevine, both the Grapevine Historical Society and another site called You Knew You Grew Up in Grapevine. So, welcome David Clark. David, where are you?
Is there a doctor in the house? A doctor? Not you, of course. We need a special doctor.
Oh, look, we got a doggone commotion in here. Can't a man just have a peaceful day playing putt-putt? Come on. So what's the problem?
Special people. Can you check these people out and see what we have going on here?
There's something going on with these
Something
people?
going on with these people.
Well, I can see some of them have got some problems. That's for sure. Take this lady right here. Wait a minute. Her nose is cold. I think she's okay. Yeah.
Doctor, how
Here,
are you?
have a bark. I'm a good one. I tell you, my name is Jermaine Shepherd. I'm the local veterinarian and taxidermist. Either way, your dog goes home with you. Here's a treat. Good girl. Well, let's take some other people here. Look at this young lady right here. Uh-huh. I can see some problems right there. She got to get those cat claws back in. I think a hairball is right here, but we'll take care of that later. Okay, what else we got here? Uh-oh. We got one here that's big time trouble. I think it's too late to do anything. Let me just check right here. Yeah? Yeah. No, it's gone.
I could have told you that.
It's gone. It's gone. Well, sir, could you stand up a minute?
No.
Please stand up a minute. I need to check you out in my office. Come up here with me, please.
No.
Oh, dear story.
Here.
Oh, my gosh.
I need to check you out. Now turn around so I can see you. Yeah. Okay, yeah, you're looking a little bit peaked. Can turn around here just a little bit? Yeah, your tail's short. That's one thing wrong right there. Do me a favor. Kind of hold your hands up like this. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, just like that. Yeah, and now kind of make this noise going. That's it, yeah. Oh, there's nothing wrong with you. You're okay. I was really worried there for a minute. You can go back to your seat now. Oh, here's a treat. Good boy.
What's the diagnosis?
What?
What's the diagnosis?
Well, I was about to get to that. You know what's wrong with some of these people in here? I've seen this before, a long time ago. Went to a meeting in Austin with a good friend of mine, Gail Armstrong, if y'all remember Gail Armstrong. Well, we went to Austin. There was a business meeting going on, and we did this skit. And at the end of the skit, we tell the people what's wrong. Well, what's wrong with y'all? A lot of y'all have never been to the Runway Theater. You've never seen a runway production. All it takes to cure you is to go. Okay? Now, let me get rid of my props here. Got to get rid of this prop too. Let me introduce myself first. Well, y'all have seen me in here several times over the months. I'm David Clark. My family moved here in about 1963. I was in the 8th grade. Tom Walker was the principal at the school. Graduated in 1968 when the high school was uptown here. After that, got married, had a couple of kids, One of my daughters sitting back here, thank you for your help today. And went to work for the Radio Shack in the early 80s. So if y'all were here in the 80s and you went downtown Grapevine and the Radio Shack was there, I was probably the one behind the counter helping you get your free batteries. Y'all remember that? So, been there, okay. Then I got involved with the Runway Theater. This was in the days we didn't have a Runway Theater. We had a bunch of people that got together and just put on a few productions, and we called ourselves the End of the Runway Players, okay? Because we didn't have a home. Okay.
Where do you want me to go? Really old Grapevine? The really old ones?
Yeah, well, here, let me preface this by saying, thanks to Larry Grovey here, that we did some research, we being he, did some research and found some nice histories of theaters long before the runway came in. Back in, I think the first one here is in 1901. Got here,
Sorry.
commencement exercise of Grapevine College. You know that there was a college here before there was a high school or anything else. Well, I think they probably had an elementary, but in fact, I know they did. Tommy was telling me that. He probably was, one of the kids there. But, so they put on a play. This one was called Michael Earl, I guess that's how you pronounce that.
The Maniac Lover.
Yeah. And I'm not sure where exactly it was, this one, but it was here in Grapevine. This came from the Grapevine Sun, by the way. So that's how they got here. You go to the next one. Yeah, this one is the College Auditorium. This was a benefit for the baseball team. And the play was called Out in the Streets. And it was a drama. So it was probably pretty fun back then too, in those days. I don't know, some of y'all might know. The next, okay, I guess we'll do this one. Is this the last one?
No, there's a couple more.
Okay. Now this one says it's in Floresville, but it had come through Grapevine earlier. But what it was Jim Bowie and David Crockett, Heroes of the Alamo, under canvas. And you can see that they had special cars and 35 people, band, orchestra, smallest farce in the world, tons of special scenery. It was probably a pretty fun event, I think. I would like to have seen that.
Free band concert.
A couple of my heroes. Okay. The Winning of Latane. 2-hour play in 4 acts presented by the Smithfield Dramatic Club at the Opry House. Now, that's not the Opry House that we know today. I don't know where that Opry House was located, do you know?
The Woodman of the World.
Okay.
That was Tolbert's.
What?
Where Tolbert's is.
Okay. And I like the way the adult admission was 25 cents. Boy, if we could do that today. Okay, next.
Last one.
Local talent play. Road to the City, a comedy drama in 4 acts will be given at the WOW Hall. That was the World of
Woodman of the World.
Woodmen or something.
Woodman of the World.
Yep. The proceeds to play will be given to the Parent Teachers Association. Now, this one was in
29.
1929. So that's the beginning of theater in this area. Now, we think that there's probably a lot more that we don't even know about, that we don't have the records of, so we can't really talk to it. But that's the beginning. Is that the end of that?
Yep.
Okay. So now, we'll talk about the early days of, and y'all have to excuse me because I wrote it down and I had to put on my reading glasses. Because, like some of y'all, Oh. Okay, in 1983, it was just a small group of us that had got together, and we did a play for was it for the city council? Anyway, it's called The Second Time Around. I didn't get to participate in that one. In '83 also is when Gail and I went to Austin and put on pretty much the same skit that I did tonight. Only a lot longer. I'm cutting everything short, so y'all don't have to stay till 9 o'clock tonight.
We appreciate it.
The small group that started became charter members. We held the rehearsals in the Civic Center on Main Street. They did the one-night performance of Second Time Around in October 21st at the Grapevine Concourse. It was a fundraising drive dinner for the Chamber of Commerce. Okay, everybody loved that play, by the way, and a lot of laughter and everything. So, again, we gathered together and came up with the name Into the Runway Players and decided that's what we were going to call ourselves, and we went from there. We rehearsed all over town, from the Civic Center, people's homes, one time at a church. Then the very first real production that we did that charged money, people paid to see, was Bus Stop. Okay, we did it at the Civic Center. So it was a small space similar to what we're at right here. And it had a nice stage set up and everything. If you know the synopsis of Bus Stop, it was that this bus had to stop at this diner because there was a bad storm, okay, snowstorm. And so everybody's in the diner and everything. Well, this play was really, really good, but there's a real funny part that I got to tell you. At one point in here, one of the guys, an older gentleman, is sitting at the diner, and this young lady is helping him get coffee and everything. And he says, "You're a lovely young lass." And some little lady out in the audience hollered out, "And you're a dirty old man, too." Well, that broke up the whole play for a minute. Everybody had to gather their thoughts, quit laughing, and start all over again, which they did, and it was great. And we had, I think, 3 nights of that, okay? And then, after that, a bunch of us decided, hey, they wanted to do a talent show, okay? So we asked the people at the Opry, the Grapevine Opry, if we could put it on there. And they said, yeah, that'd be great. So, because it was going to be just a talent show, I thought, well, why not? I'm going to build a storyline to put all the talent together and make it fun. So I did a similar to Bus Stop, where it's in the airport and there's a bad storm and there's a country guy that's supposed to be the star, and he's upset because he can't do his act. And so I'm playing an airline pilot, Captain Charming.
There we go.
Yeah, can you
I may have given myself the what?
step aside for just a second?
Oh, in my case, okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's so you.
There you go. There I am, Captain
A
Charming.
little bit further.
And you can see, some of the women loved me. And, so we did the show there, and it was a big hit. And that gave us really the momentum from there to start looking for our own place. And we did, and we found it.
Okay, that's the review of the,
Keep going. Oh, those were the reviews, by the way, for this was the reviews for it was called Grapevine in Review, the talent show. Okay. We'll post these at some point for you to look at especially if you're on Facebook, because we all use Facebook. Okay, we found the theater here. It's on Dooley Street, if y'all are familiar with it, the ones that have ever been there. And at one point, it was actually in a different location than this particular here. It was there, but in a little bit different room. And I'll let somebody else speak about that in a moment. But once we moved into there, that year, I was on the board, and we decided we were gonna have what we call the Dooley Awards. And it started out just to be a funny thing, and it was. That first one was hilarious. Here I am dressed in a spectacular outfit, and I was I had a whip, and I was telling the audience if they didn't laugh at what was going on here, I was gonna use that whip on them. And some of them believed it. But we had a lot of fun doing that. Next, and my daughter, when she was like 10 years old, was the award girl to hand out the awards to the presenters. And we had presenters.
I've been into this for a long time now.
Yeah, we had presenters that, for example, two guys came out in their undies, but they had dress shirts with tie and everything, but they had their, their briefs on. And they came out and presented the whole award show was like that. It was just one silly thing after another. Since then, they've become a lot more aimed at the real plays and stuff, so that's good. Beyond that, let me get back to my spot here. Well, Gail Armstrong was a big help in that as well. She had the backdoor theater at the time, let us play there several times too, before we actually got into the building, so that was real good. I think really now we're ready for.
This picture of her and.
Oh, well, here's me with some hair. I won't take off my hat, This hair is not mine. Co-directing one of the plays. Next.
And that's it.
This is the end of the Runway Players from the early day logo to what it is now. And at this time, I'd like to invite my co-host to come up, Amber. I'll get it right here in a minute.
You know how many
Amber
people call me
Sebastian.
Amanda over the years, it's okay.
Yeah, well, okay.
I think Larry's
gonna
gonna
get
do my
you this
tech
one.
support over there. Hi guys, I'm Amber Sebastian. My husband and I own the Grapevine Escape on Main Street. So I now build escape rooms and build games for a living. But I have actually been with Runway Theater since 2004. And my escape room is probably because of Runway Theater, because I auditioned for my first show in 2004 at Runway. And Russell and I fell in love with the city of Grapevine. So we knew we had to move here, knew we had to be here, knew we had to be close to the theater, which made us fall in love with escape rooms, which now we own a business. So I've been with Runway Theater since 2004 in every aspect you can imagine. I've been on the board, I've been president, I've made popcorn, I've swept, I've painted, I've sewn costumes. That's what we do at Runway. It's just an all-volunteer theater, and it is still an all-volunteer theater to this day. So I love how David told us kind of the older history of it. So I'm going to take you right into what has happened since David started us, right? We used to be the End of the Runway Players. We still are that, actually. Some people still call us End of the Runway Players, but we have kind of shortened it to Runway Theater. So Runway Theater, we have basically run off of volunteers now for 40 years, 40 seasons. And it's been exciting, it's been crazy sometimes, and so I'm just going to go through a timeline of what's happened since you, sir, started it. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Oh, I love this. I've got tech support. Look at the hilarious tech support for me. Okay, so as David said, we started Into the Runway Players. The first board was elected and paperwork was signed. Bum, 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 which means we pay taxes. Bum, bum, bum. So then we had our first show, as he said, at that second time around. That picture that he showed of the front door of our space, basically you're looking at the front door of 215 North Dooley. Now, when we first opened that, we were at 217 North Dooley, which by the way is next door. Then we were building a set one night. We were making it a log cabin. We were cutting these huge carpet tubes, you know those tubes that the carpet rolls come on? We were cutting them in half to make them look like log cabins, and we were also switching out all the batteries and the flashlights for backstage. The batteries and the sawdust switched together, and we burnt down the theater in Christmas Eve 1998. So we burnt down our own theater. So what we did was in 1999, we had fundraising to start rebuilding the theater. We had all kinds of fundraising. That year, the Doolies was a totally different Doolies. We still do the Doolies, by the way, to this day. The Doolies was more of a sweating to the Doolies because we had no air conditioning because we hadn't paid that bill yet. So we were sweating to the oldies, and we were building and raising money, and we got enough money to buy the place next door, 215 North Dooley, and we opened that up in 2000. So we were closed down for that season. So as you can tell, COVID somewhat didn't scare us because we've done this before. So we've been a theater since 1983, and since then we have had 236 full-scale productions. And when I say a full-scale production, we're talking about rights, royalties, actors, costumes, props, directors, sets. So you're talking about each show has a budget. Well, the budget is much more generous nowadays, but when we were trying to raise money, you were asking a director to do the whole entire show for maybe $1,000.
Now, let me add to that, if you don't mind.
Sure.
In the beginning, it was strictly people that are neighbors. I was working downtown, so I knew a lot of the people that had this, storefronts then in 1983. And so, we were all getting together. If you remember, let's see if I can remember some names. Ed Bacula worked for Matt Jameson when it was Jameson's Pharmacy. He was one of the pharmacists. He's the one that kind of really got me involved in it. He kept coming over and saying, David, you need to really do this. This would be good for you, because I acted up in the Radio Shack. We won't go. There was a time that I dressed up as a gorilla and walked around town, and another time I dressed up as a vampire and walked around town. But
We may need you back at Runway Theater. We're doing a young Frankenstein,
There
we
you
need
go.
a monster.
Go ahead.
Oh, so yes, we basically ask every merchant downtown, anywhere in Grapevine, for any money or help, whoever wants to sew costumes, whoever wants to help backstage. You don't have to have any experience. You just have to have a heart that wants to help with theater. That's it. So that's how I came along, my husband too. So we've done 236 full-scale productions to date. Over 2,500 volunteers have helped our theater, and that's not saying me 2,500 times, which that's what it kind of is. No, it is me just counts as one. So we're talking about 2,500 individual volunteers have walked into our theater. So we're very, very blessed about that number. And so, with that being said, we have a wonderful announcement. You guys will be the first public to hear this announcement. Last night, we had a season reveal for our members only. So today, I get to give you guys that season reveal. I'm on play selection. So what we do is we read thousands of plays every year. And when we decide which plays we want, we go to the board and we say, this is what we like. And the board says, yeah, or the board says no, or the board says, whatever, like that. So we try to do dramas, we try to do comedies, we try to do everything. My favorite is Southern comedies. Your very dysfunctional families, those are my favorites. That is my genre, so you will always know that if you see a huge slapstick at the theater, that's probably Amber voting a 10 on the play selection for that. One thing I did not put in this timeline that I would like to share with you because it was very special. My husband was very involved in this project as well. I was the president at the time. And there are 3 playwrights named Jones, Hope, and Wooten. They're 3 friends that got together starting to write plays that were about Southern discomfort, the dysfunction, thank you. They got very popular in community theaters because, one, you sold the seats. And remember, we are in business, so we gotta sell the seats. Two, audiences loved it, but three, the actors love playing these silly parts. You put some fake teeth on me and I start talking funny, I got some bear in my pocket. You know, it's always fun to be like those kind of characters, much like your doctor character, right? So they are very popular. We got called in 2013 by Jones, Hope, and Wooten, which we call them Joe, Ho, Woe. Short, yeah, theater people always shorten everything, Joe, Ho, Woe. So we got called by them, and they said, we have a special new play that we've just written, and we have not even performed it yet. We have tested it out in the markets, but we are looking for a theater to take this play to make the world premiere, and we have chosen Runway Theater. That's huge. Like, that put us on the map. That gave us world recognition. So if you happen to look at the script of Always a Bridesmaid by Joe, Ho, and Woe, you will see my husband's name as an assistant director of the very first world premiere. So that was pretty cool. Yes. Yeah, so that was a big accomplishment for us. So we are still doing the Doolies. They are totally different. Julie Awards are very serious now. When you win Best Actress, it's a very serious thing.
Do you need an award girl?
We always have an award girl every year. It's usually someone that's been.
But I could,
You know what? We should probably ask if you'd like to revise your original role, right? Yes, I'm on the Julie committee. Shocker, right? Yes, I will let you know because I'm in charge of trophies this year.
40 years.
Russell, you seem like you want to say something. Oh, Hollywood Arms. Hollywood Arms was another thing that was really big in our theater. Carol Burnett, along with her daughter, Carrie Hamilton, wrote the true life story of Carol Burnett's life. And if you don't know the life story of Carol Burnett, it is extremely tragic. I have no idea how she got out of what she grew up in, but let's just say she's one of my favorites, and I got to play Carol Burnett. I have a picture of me, a really bad picture of me if you'd like to see it. That was when I was skinny. Anyway, yes, so Carol Burnett called the theater before we opened the show. And since we were on all volunteer theater, nobody was at the actual box office that day. But she left a message, which I think was a lot cooler because we got to keep that message for the rest of our lives. Russell still has the MP3 of it. But she basically said, hi, this is Carol Burnett calling. I got a lovely letter from Runway Theater. And even though I can't be present, I want to wish everybody to break a leg. So right before I opened up talking like her, she spoke. So I was like, great, I have to be exactly like her now that everyone's heard her real voice. But yes, Carol Burnett did call the theater. We still have that recording. So if you haven't seen that show, if you see a theater that's going to do Hollywood Arms, please run straight to the theater. It's a great show. It has lots of heart, and it's a great show. It's a great show. Carrie Hamilton helped her write it, so there's a lot of parts that you're like, okay, this is definitely not a playwright. We've also had a playwright in our cast. Her name is Patsy Hester-Nosat. She has actually wrote plays. She's a playwright, and she did get published. So now one of our very own is an actual published playwright, and we're hoping to bring one of her scripts back. Little spoiler alert, hopefully in a couple years. It's called 3 Months Later, but I'm not supposed to tell you that. So I will tell you the season, though. So now I'm going to go to the next slide. Oh, are you going to do that for me? Yeah. Okay. So I'm very proud to announce the season. Right now, we have just finished Catch Me If You Can. Did you guys see that movie? Yeah. Good movie, right? Yeah. Cooler musical. So you got to check that out someday. The next one we're going to do is Epic Proportions, which is kind of a slapstick, kind of a Mel Brooks kind of feel, if you will. And then our new season opens. You're going to be the first people to see this in the real public. So Young Frankenstein. We had the rights and royalties to do Young Frankenstein, and unfortunately this thing called COVID closed us down. So we were going to be the first theater in the Metroplex to grab Young Frankenstein. Unfortunately, during COVID, as soon as we brought everything back, other theaters had grabbed it before we did. So there's been a lot of productions about Young Frankenstein, but I still believe Runway will be fantastic. And I love Mel Brooks, so you can't do anything wrong with Mel Brooks. Again, I am slapstick comedy, huge fan. A Sherlock Carol. Imagine Sherlock Holmes mixed with your good old-fashioned Christmas Carol. You know, humbug, you know, stuff like that. Imagine that being Sherlock Holmes. So, you know, murder, happening, happiness, ghost, you know all that lovely stuff. Sordid Lives. Have you guys ever heard of Sordid Lives? Okay, there's a playwright named Del Shorts who was actually born and raised in Dallas. And he was a married gentleman, and he hadn't come out of the closet yet. And nobody accepted him when he did, except for his in-laws, which is weird, his in-laws. So he got a divorce. And he started writing plays about Southern dysfunction and just things that your family can come across. So Sordid Lives is a little bit of a dated show, but it's so actually very important to us nowadays. You know what I mean? It comes back and it teaches us a lesson. You have to accept everybody. So I love that one. That's my slapstick. My Kitchen Witches. This is greatness. Two women, they have cooking shows. They hate each other. Because one of them stole the other one's boyfriend in high school. So this goes back like 30 years. So it's two middle-aged women with cooking shows, hating each other, and they basically fight live on air. It's hilarious. You will love it. Two main leads, two women, two middle-aged. So the Tin Woman, that's our drama. Oh, that's our drama. It is about a woman that gets a heart transplant. She gets a heart, like, you know, the Tin Man needed a heart, right? So it's named the Tin Woman. And she goes and wants to find the donor's family and talk to them. So it might not be something that she should do, if you know what I mean. And then it becomes a very touching little story about the donor versus the recipient. So that's our drama. And then Comedy of Tenors. Have you guys heard of Ken Ludwig? He wrote Leading Ladies. Yes. So he wrote something that was, I just went blank. What's the original one?
Lend me a tenor?
Lend Me a Tenor. Wow, I just went blank. That was crazy. Okay, Lend Me a Tenor was at our theater 2 years ago, and it did very, very well. So Comedy of Tenors is actually a sequel to that, but you don't have to know one to know the other. It's a great musical, great male parts. For anybody that's middle-aged that needs a great male part, you have a tenor voice, that's Comedy of Tenors. It's not comedy of like altos. And then we have a special add-on. For Valentine's Day, sometimes we like to do a special show, and this is called Love Letters. I'm sure you guys have heard of this. It's an older script, but a great script. It's two people, and all they're doing is writing letters to each other throughout the ages of being kids, teenagers, adults, often doing their own world, and then they finally get together at the end. So that's going to be our Valentine's Day special. So tickets are on sale now for a season pass. If you've not been to Runway, you will love Runway. It is a small theater. It'll feel like you're right here.
But the acoustics are better.
What?
But the acoustics are better.
The acoustics are better, yes, yeah. Well, we have microphones now. We used not to have microphones. Now we have microphones. I'm just used to the old school where. And then if you have a season pass, you get the same seat every single show. Like if you like a particular seat, you get it every show, you know, and that's much easier. You still have to make your reservation. And then on Sundays is 3 o'clock shows. So go to runwaytheatre.com. It's R-E instead of E-R. So does anybody have any questions about Runway? I've said a lot, but 41st season. So we've been, so we did shut down for COVID, and COVID was pretty hard on all the theaters. We lost all the rights and the royalties. You guys know that. Everybody that paid rights and royalties to every single show during COVID lost all that money.
Highest grossing show?
Highest grossing show, that changes all the time because our prices go up. So yes, it's hard to say the highest grossing show because your prices go up. So
Most tickets sold show?
the Catch Me If You Can had almost a sold out crowd. Annie was huge when we did Annie back in the 80s or 90s and 90s. There was Adam's Family was sold out all the time. Let's see, Dearly Beloved, anything Joe Ho Now you guys know Joe Ho Wo. Anything Joe Ho Wo sells out big time. Disaster. Have you guys ever heard of Disaster, the musical? Oh, it's great. It's takes place on a cruise ship. It sinks, and it's a disaster. And it's hilarious. And that sold out big time. Made lots of money. We had to extend that. Actually, Larry helped me when I was president get some pantomimes at our theater. The pantomimes sold out very, very, very well, almost too well, because I think we decided it was too much for Runway and our little volunteer theater. But that sold out really well. What?
Is that the one where there's audience participation?
Yep.
Yeah, pantomimes. They're real popular. I'm sure Larry can talk about this forever, but they're really, really, really popular over the pond, across the pond. And here there's a group of people that kind of follow them, so they know that it was part of their upbringing. They want to continue doing it as a tradition. So they just don't have as many theaters here that do them as much as they do them across the pond. So we did that, and it sold out really well. Usually the things that don't sell out as well, to be honest with you, are your dramas. A lot of people say, I want to escape life, I want to laugh. So your dramas usually don't sell as well as your Joe Ho Wo's. Another one is anything really like current with like a really hard subject matter. Like the one we're reading right now for play selection. It's called Touched by Grace, and we're a little afraid to do it at our theater. It's a very warm and lovely play, but it's about a girl named Grace who has dementia, and it's about her family having to deal with like kind of some things you just don't put on a stage usually. So we're having a big struggle about, do we put that out so that people can have that as something to see, or do we just say, you know what, maybe that's just for families to... We just don't know, but it's called Surviving Grace. Surviving Grace. If you want to read the script, it's a touching script, but there's stuff like that we're a little afraid to put out because it's like you never know how the audience is going to react. But any comedy, any musical,
Where do you draw actors from? Is it all just in-house? Or
That's
are you
a
drawing
really good
actors
question.
from,
So how we do it at Runway is we do two different ways. We have a director selection committee. So we interview directors and we ask them, hey, if you like this show, what's your vision? Tell me what your vision is and I'll see if I want to hire you. And then once the director is chosen, they get two options. They can either have an open audition, which I love that a lot more, where there's 2 nights, you show up 7:00 either night, you just read whatever the director wants you to read. You may sing whatever the director wants you to sing. But then there's also ways that you just make an appointment. And the appointments are a little bit more private because the director has you just to themselves. And also the director can maybe put you with you, even though you didn't audition together, they could bring you back the next day. But we are open auditions. We do not precast. If a director ever comes to us and says, I want this part precast, it's really hard for us to do that because we were a volunteer theater. We're not professional. We're not an equity house. So we always tell the director, if you want to do that, that's kind of hard on us, but you need to publicize that with everybody because every single person in this room can be on our stage. Every single person in this room can be on our stage. There is a part for you, and whether it's on the stage, backstage, popping popcorn, running the box office, there's a part for all of us. But yes, it's completely open auditions. So if I want to go audition, I just look at the audition dates on our website at www.runwaytheatre.com. And I just click on the auditions and it'll tell me which way the director wants to do it. If the director wants to do the appointments or an open call. Yeah. Any other questions?
I have a story for you.
Uh-oh.
Good question.
Okay.
So as you all know, Kathy and I moved down from Chicago about 6 years ago. And through church, we met a couple who had moved down here or over here from Baltimore. They're both retired. He was retired NASA.
Okay.
And so we would get together with them for dinner every once in a while. He's retired NASA, she's retired professional, very sophisticated. One night over dinner here in Grapevine, he announces that his dream has always been to raise some farm animals, and his way of perpetuating that dream was he bought himself a double wide north of the Red River. And they announced this to us over dinner. And the wife's look was sheer horror.
Yeah.
She had never set foot in a double wide in her life. We see Double Wide Christmas.
Double Wide Christmas.
Double Wide Christmas is showing in 2 weeks. We snapped up the tickets, we took them there. I'm not sure her anxiety was lessened any, but it was a great show.
Guess who wrote Double White Christmas?
Joe
Joe Ho-Oh. You guys are catching on to this. Joe Ho-Oh wrote 2 of them. She wrote Double Wide Texas, and people loved the characters so much. They wrote Double Wide Christmas. So it was the same characters in debaucheling like situations. Pregnant, it's all Southern dysfunction. I love every minute of it. Yes.
If I'm not.
It's funny, right? You go, oh my God, what can happen next? What costumes can show up on this set next? Yeah, and it was a double wide. We built a double wide on the set of Runway Theater. Dan Duncan, if anybody knows Dan Duncan, he was the director of that. Yeah, double wide Texas.
Let me interject here.
Was that Kenny
By the way, you can find the Runway Theater at runwaytheater.com.
The
They're on the Facebook at Runway Theater. They're on Instagram. Twitter.
Russell would know a little bit more about that. Amy Jackson's in charge of social media now, so
Yeah.
Russell could probably answer that question, but I'm pretty sure we have a TikTok and a Twitter.
Yeah. So you can find them with that, and there's a lot of information there, and also that will lead you to buy tickets if you're interested, because the tickets go surprisingly different
Fast.
places. The tickets go fast, especially for certain seats. If you've ever seen it, it's the seating goes up, and it's really not a whole lot bigger than this. And so to get good seats and everything, you really need to grab tickets early.
Yeah, we have 99 seats in our theater.
And the front seats are generally
Like
for
these.
certain members and stuff like that, so, and for other people, so it's, you only have a certain amount there, so that you wanna
Yeah,
get in
so
there
if
and
you
do
want
it.
a season pass, you definitely want to get it online to get your seats.
One other thing, my daughter was so nice, because it's about the theater, she brought popcorn up here, so y'all,
Aw,
please
that's cute.
get some popcorn before you leave today.
Okay, Russell, did you have a question?
I said, it sounds so exciting, Rick, but you said it was on Julie, but where exactly on Julie is it?
Oh, of course, my husband being on the board. Take a look at that. My husband is the office manager on the board right now. So, do you guys know where R&J's restaurant is, or Bartley's Barbecue?
Bartley's.
Do you know where Devon's Designs is? You know that L-shaped shopping center? Okay, we all know where Bartley's is. Okay. In Bartley's Shopping Center, it's an L-shaped shopping center. Right behind it is us. So we're almost like the best hidden kept secret in Grapevine, where we are. And that picture that David so nicely showed of the front door, we have a new sign. It's purple now, but it's basically the exact same sign. It's just purple. So yeah, if we're right there, we're just kind of the hidden little treasure in Grapevine. We don't want to be hidden anymore. We don't want to be hidden anymore. We want to invite all of you lovely people to come be entertained. So that's a good, thank you, Russ. Anybody have any other questions? Yes.
What's your favorite play and favorite musical?
My favorite play is a play called Boys Next Door. Has anyone seen that?
Yeah.
Okay, Boys Next Door is about men in a group home setting. It's independent group home setting. So they're not completely, mentally challenged. I think that's the right way to say it nowadays. But it's a great show. It has so much heart. It's comedy. It's drama. It's heart. That's my favorite play. My favorite musical. Well, also my other favorite play is Noises Off, but that's different. Also, my favorite musical is probably. I love Avenue Q, but I probably can't say that in this audience. It's a rated R show. I love Avenue Q very much. The ones that we've done, we haven't gotten the rights to Avenue Q. I think my favorite musical that we ever did was Cabaret. Cabaret won every single award in the DFW. Because now we have DFW awards, not just Julie awards, David. We got DFW awards. So the Cabaret won a lot of awards. The girl that played Sally Bowles, if you're familiar with the show, it's the lead girl. She sings the song that's just delightful, and I can't sing it, so you're not going to get tortured by that. She won Best Actress in DFW that year.
I'll tell you some of the differences from now, their plays that they put on their thing. We put on Heaven Can Wait was one of the plays. It was the first play that I was actually in. Well, in this play, there's some scenes where one of the ladies is talking to a couple of guys, and she pours some supposed wine in their glass. Well, unsuspecting to them, she used real wine. She had come in earlier and put wine in the decanter, and when she poured the wine into the glasses and one of the guys drinks it, and out of character, but in character, he goes, "May I have another?" So this is what theater was about in our day.
Oh, no, we still get the vodka jokes. Yeah.
And
We still get
behind the
vodka
scenes-
drinks where we think we're drinking water, and that stage manager has given us vodka.
That
And we're
and-
on stage in front of an audience going,
That and Spotlight. We had a spotlight, and one of the guys that ran the spotlight a lot of times, somebody would be doing something over here, he'd have the spotlight, and then he'd start moving the spotlight, and they'd have to move with the spotlight across the stage. So we had a lot more fun, I think, in those days, because it wasn't serious.
no, it's not serious, never serious in Runway Theater. We have a lot of fun. One of my funnest memories is I had to go from an old lady to a young lady because we didn't have enough people audition. You gotta come audition. So we didn't have enough people audition, so I was the old lady and I was the young lady, and I had such a little time to change from this costume. So I had people ripping off the wig, taking off the age lines. I had another girl, her name's Judy Bauman Blaylock. She's been with the theater for a long time. She was trying to put fake eyelashes on me. Well, the glue made the eyelashes stick to my eyelids. And I said, "Judy, I think there's something wrong." She goes, "Go out, it's time." I walked out, I was like, "Hello." I couldn't blink, they were stuck. It was bad. I've had the costume, what do they call them? Wardrobe malfunctions. Oh yeah, we've all had that. Where we look down and we go, "Oh my God, I've got 2 different shoes on." Just go with it. You know, and you just go with it. I mean, it's live theater.
We had entrances where somebody was supposed to enter at a specific time in the play, and they entered just before they were supposed to enter, and so it kind of disrupted the whole thing, and everybody was real good, though. Everybody kind of went with it, played along with it, and then pushed this person back out of the way, and later they came back out, and of course, in the audience, like, what's going on here?
My husband was a lead in a show where he never left the stage. He was in the show the entire time, never got to leave the stage. It's called Polish Joke. He's got a lot of memories about hoping and praying people showed up on time because he was literally on stage for 2 hours. So, yeah, there's a lot of good memories, a lot of good stuff. I brought a few little pictures. If you guys wanted to see them, not a big deal. We've been waiting for MacArthur. Sorry, wrong Timmy. There's Judy Blaylock.
We
Sorry,
need to post those on
I will.
Facebook.
And this is one of my pride and joys. I was Annie Sullivan in The Miracle Worker. So with a bunch of kids, but it helped that I knew sign language on that show for sure. Rumors, remember Skinnier. Skinnier and younger, that's me. And here's me as Carol Burnett in Hollywood Arms. So it was called Hollywood Land when they moved into their apartment in Hollywood. So, but yeah, if that's all the questions, then I guess I'm finished.
Come get some popcorn.
Yes,